Welcome. I'm Jade Hindmon, host of KPBS Midday Edition. Welcome to the 2021 GI Film Festival San Diego. KPBS is deeply honored to present this virtual event showcasing a diverse array of films about the military and veteran experience. On behalf of KPBS, our festival organizers, volunteers, and filmmakers, thank you for joining us for the world premiere of The Invisible Project. At this time, I want to introduce our panel. First is the director of The Invisible Project and Navy veteran Pacifica Sauer. We also have two of the veterans from the film with us, U.S. Navy veteran Romaine Barnett and Kendra Lou Pieper. Also with us is Leslie Woods, the daughter of Dorothy Stroud, the World War II veteran in the film. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Pacifica, first, I want to know, how did this film come about?
Well, it wasn't anything I planned. It was it kind of fell in my lap. I work for a CBS affiliate in Houston, Texas, and my friend Valerie James called me one morning and said, I have a tremendous surprise. I've gotten a bionic leg for our friend Kendra, and I want to give it to her. And I was hoping you could put it on the news. And as we started talking, it was just a tremendous story, and it was long form. It needed more time. So I asked her, I said, Valerie, would it be okay if maybe we got her on Great Day and gave her the leg on Great Day? So I called Kathy Ritchie, the EP of Great Day Houston, and Deborah Duncan, the host, and they were thrilled. They were over the moon. And of course they wanted to give Kendra her leg on the show. And Valerie made the arrangements. We flew Kendra out. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, but I did want to document this time for Kendra and Valerie. So all I had was my phone. I whipped my phone out, and when Kendra got out of the car, out of the Uber that day, she gave me this look. But that's when it all started. Kendra remembers that. It was terribly awkward for her. But I recorded her the leg on Great Day Houston that day, and I followed her to Oklahoma City to get fitted for the leg, and I documented that. And these stories started coming together, but at the same time, I was becoming very involved in the veteran community. We were working on Women's Veterans Day in Texas, and Romaine was heading that up, trying to get all that started. The legislation was in order, and people were giving their testimonies, and we were doing photo shoots and getting women interested and together. And we were all coming together, and I was meeting all these women, and we were getting invited to events. And these were things we participated in and we took part in. And these were kind of home videos I was making for the Houston community. And before I knew it, I realized that we had something really important to share. And the time was right. The events were right. And it got its legs.
Right. Now, Kendra, I imagine this film was very personal for you. Talk to us about why you chose to be involved in the film.
I chose to be involved in the film because the number one reaction I get when I tell people that I got injured downrange is they're quite surprised that I'm a female, so they react, they're like, but you're a female. And so it was very personal to me as well to get our stories out there to the world and to show the world that we too are right there along with the men fighting and doing all the jobs that they take on.
Right. Now, and Romaine, why do you think this film was so important?
Well, again, as I mentioned before, because the stories are so diverse and so relevant to, they're very relatable to people in our culture, but there's some particular nuances that go along with a woman in the military. That's just not public knowledge. Like she said, most people are shocked that a woman would be, injured in battle, like, in war, like as if, what we do is way, way, way behind the scenes. That's no longer the case. Women are out there on the front lines, and then a lot of the issues, sometimes we have issues just because we're there because we happen to be women. So, and that alone just needs to be acknowledged. so people can say, pay attention to the reality of what it takes to be a female in the service, just to be there, because it costs something, greater than we expected just to be there. And so I think this project kind of gives a highlight to that, because again, you can see the variety of the different stories that are told, that you see that there's a whole lot of different things that go on that just are not known. And I think this is a way to tell everybody about it.
Right. Leslie, your mom was a bit of a trailblazer. How does that make you feel?
Incredibly proud of her. I got to learn a little bit about her military history through Pacifica's interview. I mean, of course, we talked about it some, but I learned more about her history and her experience, and going over the side of the ship at Omaha Beach. I didn't know that earlier on. So it's been for her to get some recognition at this point in her life. She'll be 100 in a couple months, and to be honored for that has been incredibly special.
Wow. Pacifica, this film has a festival nomination for Best Film made by veteran or military. What does that mean to you?
First of all, that was completely unexpected. And it's such an honor that my film is nominated for this. I'm speechless. I mean, I don't know what to say, because that's not why, to win awards and laurels and all this is not this is not how we started. So it's an unspeakable honor. And I'm so proud that we're the ones that get to carry the guide on, so to speak. And hopefully, what I like about the GI Film Festival, I believe this audience cares about veterans and military families. And I believe this is the audience to begin with, to start with, to get our voices heard. This is how we create empathy and create relatable stories for people, so we can create change in the culture and the communities that we serve.
Right. Pacifica, obviously you just touched on this, but I'm curious from all of you, what you hope is accomplished through sharing your stories and your experience.
Well, I'm hoping, number one, that we can bring light on some of these little known issues regarding women in the military and MST in particular. And I realize that affects many men as well. In the age of Vanessa Guillen, I think that it's time that we have different conversations and realize that equality means different things to different people. Some of the physical differences are obviously there, but we do the same jobs and we deserve the same recognition as the men.
I know one of the conversations we had.
Yeah, I want people to.
Go ahead, Kendra.
I want people to see that. I want people to see that women are trailblazers, that we are strong and, empower each other. And I want people to see that we are right there also, right beside the men, doing everything and going above and beyond, to make our presence known. Because in the military, I felt as if I had to go way above, than any male just to make my presence known. So I think it's important that the world sees that as well, how powerful and strong women are.
One other thing we know specifically we were interested in as women veterans who have not identified as women veterans, that they would take this as an opportunity to recognize that they too are veterans. Because a lot of women, we found as we moved around the city, a lot of women who serve have never identified. They don't talk about it. Nobody even knows they were ever in the military. And that was another goal for us, to be able to say, like Leslie Wood's mom, women from back in that era, a lot of times didn't even know they were veterans. So they never got benefits. They never been to the VA. None of the things that were available to them in today's contemporary culture would they have even been a lot of times aware of. So that was another specific thing that we wanted to get across, to let people know that these women are out here letting us know, if you're a woman who served in the military at any point, you're a veteran. So if you see something that's related to veteran, that's you. So go get your stuff, go to the VA, get connected to some of these programs to get what you need. Specifically, if you have some of the experiences that we presented, get you some counseling. There's medical treatment for you. Whatever you need is out there. So that was important as another part of what we were trying to get across with it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many women who have served maybe don't identify as a veteran?
So many reasons. Pacifica, you want to start? Oh God, yeah.
Well, for a long time, there was a lot of confusion around what a veteran was, because a lot of women felt like if they didn't go to war, they weren't veterans. And for a long time, I think even the VA even denied blue water sailors in Vietnam their benefits because they weren't technically in combat. And we all know that they were dosed with Agent Orange and Agent Blue and a bunch of other stuff, and they deserve their benefits as well. The same with women. A lot of women, they served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and they came home, they became wives and mothers, and they just put the veteran part of themselves on the back burner and went on with their lives. And the veteran part just kind of disappeared into the ether. They never talked about it. It wasn't important, and their stories weren't told. So it was just, it was the way women came back and transitioned into civilian life, I think, is where a lot of the definition of what a veteran was lost. And today we understand that it's not that way. But a lot of the older women still feel that, yes, they served, but that was a long time ago, or what they did they perceived wasn't important enough to be called a veteran, so they didn't go after their benefits, and they just didn't identify at all. You wouldn't even know they were a veteran looking at them. That, and even if you asked them, they would say, well, that was a long time ago, or, my service really didn't matter, when we all know that your service does matter. Service matters.
Right. Romaine, I know you had something to add to that.
Yeah, one other answer we've gotten often is that my experience was so traumatic that I don't want to remember it. So that actually has that question, that answer has surprised me, how many times we've actually had even young women say, yeah, I was in the military, but I don't want to remember anything about it. And so we've actually, I think Pacifica and I specifically have had to say to people, listen, we understand that, but the VA is not the military. The VA is designed specifically for veterans. That's their whole job. The only reason why they have a job is you. So the whole purpose for them to be sitting there is for you to be able to go get what you need. So we've had to convince people just to take a look at it. You're trying to figure out medical care, and you have medical care sitting right there, almost 100% free, often depending on, what your status is. And we've been able to help a lot of people. I worked with an organization for a little while where I was actually working with women, with everybody, veterans in general, but I specifically tried to get as many women as I could to at least acknowledge and get into the system so that they could get health care, because a lot of that was trauma. It was very difficult to face,
Right. It sounds like you guys have to help people to advocate for themselves, particularly women. How would you advise women do that who have served?
Go out and get involved with the women veterans community and find out what organizations are available and what they provide to you. I mean, one of the best things I did for myself when I became involved with the women veterans community is make friends. All the people I met, they knew what was going on. They knew what was available and what I needed to do to get the help I needed. And I never would have figured that out on my own, just reading websites and random emails on. It just would have been impossible. So I think getting involved is one of the most crucial things you can do as a veteran in the community.
And I'll say, since we have social media, of course, specifically in Texas or anywhere, because there's social media, One link is Women Veterans Day is out there in Texas, and people can actually go on to log on and follow Women Veterans Day. I think it's actually on Instagram and on Facebook. You know, because we're in a digital society right now, so that might be a place to start. And then other places to start might be just, you know, if you're outside of Texas, you can go to different, you know, there's a veteran community in every single state. So that everything from DAVs to, you know, VFWs, and those people have become a lot more female friendly in the past couple of years. We'll just say last 2-3 years. They at least acknowledge you and give you a space. So sometimes that's a place to start. And of course, the VA is always there as a place to start, you know, because like she said, a lot of times you wouldn't even know where to go. You know, where do I begin with that process? So just to know veterans and women veterans are. So because again, you know, we don't walk around with hats on, ball caps saying, you know, Gulf War all the time. So yeah, that would be a place to start, at least in the digital community. I would say that's a good place, particularly for the young folks, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got a few questions from the audience. This one comes from Letitia Graves. She says, have other invisible projects been done after this one? I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and this was fabulous, a fabulous film. That's in all caps. And thank you so much. So have other invisible projects been done after this one?
Oh, most certainly. I would like to do an entire digital campaign featuring all kinds of women, but we have other stories that we have ready kind of for the digital campaign. One lady sadly passed away this past summer during the COVID lockdowns, but that was part of the plan with this, is we wanted to have a collection of stories, not just the film.
All right. And I've got another one, Nancy, in the audience. She loved the film and asks, is there a particular audience you hope will see this film and learn from it?
World is our audience. I mean, we literally, because the stories are very relatable. I think all of them are relating to somebody. So we believe that everybody can get something and benefit from this film.
All right. And Heather from San Diego asks, what do you think needs to change to encourage women veterans to see themselves as veterans?
What do you think, Kendra?
I think it's gonna have to start with, you know, our generation and build off of that. We have to change we have to change the mindset that's been set forth for female veterans. We have to teach them, you know, teach ourselves to believe in ourselves and to know that we are worthy of carrying that veteran label, that we served and we earned that label. So I think it starts, you know, helping women believe in themselves and see them worthy as saying, I am a veteran.
Absolutely. I got a question for you. You know, what do you think about the women graduating boot camp at MCRD recently? First group to be integrated. What do you guys think about that?
You know, I went to Fort Benning the past 2 Fridays to speak to the 3rd generation of female integrated infantry basic trainees. And let me tell you what, those were some tough women out there. It was such an amazing experience to see these trailblazers. I told them, like, y'all are paving the way. You should be proud and hold your head high. And they are out there. It was very amazing to see. Yep.
Wow, that's great. I spent some time working at Fort Benning, Georgia, covering all the deployments. That's wonderful. Another question, a question from for Leslie. This one's specifically for Leslie. How is Dorothy doing, and is there an update on her receiving benefits, and how can people help?
She's doing well. We've recently moved to an assisted living community, and hopefully, in fact, I'm in the process of putting all of her VA papers together to try and get her that aid and attendance. She's been turned down several times, but hopefully now we can get the paperwork together and get that approved. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
She'll be 100 in July.
Wow. That is wonderful. Well, before we wrap, I'd like to know if there's anything else you guys would like to mention about the film.
Tell
I just
everybody.
want to say it was a really big honor to be able to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for your service and for sharing your stories and pursuing change. It's greatly appreciated. So thank you. And of course, thank you for joining in. There are plenty of great films to catch throughout the festival, including our closing night film block, Women Warriors, a collection of short films highlighting the stories of women veterans. That scheduled showtime is Sunday, May 23rd at 5:30 p.m. And we hope you see as many films as your schedule allows. You can find the full schedule at gifilmfestivalsd.org. Again, that's gifilmfestivalsd.org. Thank you to all involved for making this virtual festival possible, including our advisory committee members, the Film Consortium at San Diego, our filmmakers, and our festival sponsors and partners, the California Arts Council, Katina Daniels Communications, National University, Task and Purpose, and the San Diego International Airport Arts Program. In the email reminder you got for this screening, there was a link to our attendee survey. It takes just a few minutes of your time to fill out, and your feedback will help us make the 2022 GI Film Festival San Diego even better than ever. So thank you very much for joining us, and good night.